What up, YouTube? You can't stop trading and investing with your boy James E. Wednesday, I want to talk about my overnight play on AABB and how that turned out. I also want to get into a day trade that I took on EEENF, thinking that I could catch a bounce. And then I also want to talk about a multi-day breakout on INND. I want to get into all that. But before I do, man, please click that like button. Please subscribe. It is very much appreciated. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy that likes to research and analyze anything I find interesting in the stock market. And I like to share that with anybody willing to listen. So, that being said, let's just get right into it, shall we? Let's do this. So AABB winded up gapping up in the 27s like I talked about in the previous video. If you haven't watched it, please go and do so. The way it finished strong yesterday, closing in the 26s. I had said most likely we'd probably get a gap up to the 27. And it did wind up getting all the way up, have a print all the way into 30. And it winded up closing in the 30. So if you can see right here, it says P&L on the day in this account, $1,300. But if you see right here, P&L at the open, I repurchased it towards the close, bought 70,000 shares, and winded up profiting, adding $378 to my position. So overall, I had about a $900 position, a little over $900 position here for the overnight play. Now let's get into the other one, and then same thing here. As you can see, I have a P&L, open P&L of 224 for AAPP. Winded up, I tried to capture another 50,000 shares, but it winded up only executing me 39,405 with a total P&L on the day of 826. Pretty much doing the same thing I did yesterday. Going for the overnight play because it's maintaining this beautiful trend. And you can see it. So just like we talked about in the last video, we have this, let's back it up a little bit. Bing, bing. We have a pop, drop, pop, drop, pop, drop, pop, drop, pop, drop, pop, drop. But it keeps getting tighter and tighter and tighter each day. See how choppy it is here? You know, a little bit looser. Then it tightens up a little bit this day, tightens up a little bit this day, really tightens up this day, and goes for a beautiful run this day. Seen it drop here and start grinding back. So that told me we could potentially get a gap up again, especially off the news catalyst from yesterday that I talked about. The news catalyst, let's just get right back into it. The $1 million gold-backed cryptocurrency sales in the first 2 weeks. So, I mean, that's some pretty good news. So yeah, so I winded up buying back in, doing the same exact play I did yesterday on it. So overall, 826 here. And then I just had the overnight play here on AABB. And that one, the 25,000 shares, I made $280 on. So overall on AABB, 280 there. 826 here. So that's already $1,100. And then boom, 1,100. So a little over $2,400 profit on the day for AABB, doing the overnight from yesterday and then repurchasing it before the close today, and able to capture in this bounce right here. As you can see, my entry was 29.56, which was right down here before the pop. So that was beautiful. So that put me at over $2,400 profit on AABB. Now, the next trade that I took, let's just get into that one, would be on EEENF. So let's go here. Just try to capture a day trade. Took a minus $140 loss on it. And really, it just didn't do what I wanted. So as you can see, it had a complete drop off from the 8s all the way down to the 1s yesterday. Didn't even think really about doing an overnight play on it, which would have been actually really good if I did do an overnight play on it, because we did have a beautiful gap up. But honestly, I just didn't see it till the end. And this is where I got in this candle right here. As you can see, gapped up, popped, pulled back. Then we have like this curl action and then a spike in volume right here. And this is where I wanted to get in. And why ain't you working? Oh, wrong button. And then boom, 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 boom. And then so, you know, when it went red here and then went red here, I just said, you know what? This is possibly, potentially might not work. Again, you don't know in hindsight. You don't know if it's going to work or not. But, you know, I always use level 2. So the level 2 is the bid in the ask. And I just wasn't seeing enough strength. When you see strength in the level 2, you want to see a stack of bid. Okay, you want to see this number increasing and higher than the ask side number over here. And so that's how you determine strength. And it just was weak. There was no strength in it. So I just sold. Didn't like the way it looked, and I'm glad I sold because it winded up just dropping off the rest of the day. And so that was actually a really good trade that I took because, boom, it could have been really, really bad. So, you know, cut my loss, notice weakness, cut my loss, took a $140 loss. So, you know, I'm cool with that. No problem. The next trade I got into is INND. Now, INND was a beautiful multi-day breakout. So let's get into the daily chart. So again, these are just stocks that I have on my watch list that I've been trading over the last few months. So as you can see right here, it's a recent runner. And now, you know, it's starting to gear back up. Multi-day breakout in multiple levels. Had a breakout level here, broke it, breakout level right here, broke it, and a breakout level right here. It was this level that I was playing, the high of the highest level. Because look at this clear path that we have once it breaks that level. So if you look right here, boom, you'll see I grabbed 400,000 shares and I wound up with a 220 profit. And I kind of just exited quick because I kind of have this rule when I'm dip buying or anytime I'm doing a intraday trade. Some might consider it scalping, but for me personally, it's just me playing it safe. Anytime I'm up a couple $100, I have like this psychological point in my mind where it's like, okay, cool, I'm up a couple hundred. I'm just going to sell it, which I shouldn't have necessarily did because it was still showing strength. But let's just get into this. So when we had this breakout back here, so I was watching it. When I noticed it broke here, dip below, broke here, dip below, and then it was like consolidating right here. I said, okay, I'm watching this, watching this, watching this. And then it was funny because about 11:30, right in this area, I was like, you know what? You know, I'm just going to wait it out. Like, it didn't look like when it dipped here, I was like, okay, it doesn't really look like it's going to break. It might not break. And I happened to leave to go get me some lunch. And then I came back because I literally got a Subway, like literally up the street from my house. So when I came back, literally came back 15 minutes later, and we were broken over it. So I was like, oh, shit. So I started buying, I bought 300,000 shares in this area right here. And then when it dipped below, I was like, I'm still going to hold on to it. And then when it dipped below again, dipped right here, try to shake me out, I bought back in it, bought another 100,000 shares just to balance my average because, again, man, I've seen OTC multi-day breakouts happen over and over. It's actually a really good strategy. It's not one that I particularly wait and set up for, but if it's on my watch list and I'm recognizing it, like I said, man, it's something I've seen over and over again, and it's actually percentage-wise, it's a good strategy. It's a good probability that it'll work in the OTC market, okay? I'm talking about OTC stocks, not a NASDAQ stock, not a New York Stock Exchange, OTC. So when it broke here, did a fake out breakout, pulled back, then broke it again, faked out again, but it was maintaining just right below. You know, and then when it dipped off here, I was thinking, okay, it's not going to work, and then boom. So I bought 300,000 shares because now it's solidifying to me that, okay, this thing, it can work because this is the third time it broke over. And, you know, if it breaks a third time, usually the second time it might go. But it broke a third time for sure. So I was like, okay, I really believe this thing is going to go. And then I started noticing it stacking on the bid side compared to the ask side. I mean, it wasn't too big, but you kept noticing the bid just kept coming back, Every time the ask got heavy, the bid kept coming back, adding more shares, adding more shares. So then I added right here another 100,000 to put me at 400,000, which put me at an average of 381. And then all of a sudden, boom, we had this pop here. And I sold it in the 390s for a 220 profit. And then when I noticed it was holding, still maintaining this, it dropped here. I said, okay, this thing could still work. It's holding above. So then I got back in this account and bought, I tried to go for 200,000 shares, but if you look right here, it only executed me 160,000, 162.78. And this one happened to be a way better trade because I got back in near the bottoming here. And then I had this solid push and sold it right before it tapped the 4 because, you know, whole numbers, you got to pay attention to whole numbers. Whole numbers are very hard. Those are really good support and resistance levels. And I noticed that it was having a hard time breaking that 4, but I sold it before the 4. And so I winded up collecting another 266. So on that multi-day breakout, I winded up with almost $500 profit between 2 accounts, 220 in one, 266 in another. So, you know, about $486 profit for a multi-day breakout, which was a great profit for a multi-day breakout, $486. So that was beautiful. And then I winded up purchasing that one for an overnight play because if you also look at the daily, so I bought another 200,000 shares right before the close, right at the top of the 4 cent. And then it just dipped below real quick, came back. So, you know, minus $30 on top of that. So overall made $456 on the day for that one. So I made somewhere around $2,700 on the day, which is a beautiful day considering that the way the market has been. And it looks like we're starting to get a little bit of bounce in here. And that's beautiful. So I did an overnight on INND specifically for because it was a breakout. And then if you notice, once it catches this green run of breakouts, like if you notice here in the first run, boom, right here, when it broke this level, had this run here, and then it gapped up the next day, and then it caught a nice run. So I'm thinking, you know, this has the potential of catching a nice run. So that's why, and I only got it in one account because it broke beautifully. And look at this big pickup in volume. So, you know, it told me, you know, I could potentially get some kind of gap up and maybe recover this gap right here to the 5. That's a very good possibility. If you notice right here, we had a complete gap down right here at 495, you know, to the 442. And that's kind of in that range that this thing could meet. I could very well see it gap up somewhere in this area. And if it does, I'll collect a nice little profit off of it. So that's why I did an overnight on that one. And then AABB did an overnight on that one because the trend is continuing. And anytime we have this nice, beautiful reverse, and I always like to see this like a U-shaped pattern, almost like it's going to formulate a cup and handle. So I could very well see this one reaching the 3.5 mark. And that would be nice if I could capture that as well. You know, I'm sorry, the 30 cents to 35. So a 5-cent profit would be really, really nice. Bought it in 2 accounts. So 70,000 shares. Is that? Yeah. Let me see. Boom. Yeah, here we go. Boom. Yeah, so bought 70,000 shares here. And then bought another 39. Tried to go for 50, but I wound up capturing 39,000. So, you know, about 109,000 shares. So, you know, if it has a 5-cent gap up, you know, I don't think it's going to gap up 5 cents, but I can very well gap up a penny or two, which would be beautiful. That'd be, you know, a quick $1,000, $2,000. So if that happens, you know, I like the odds of that happening. So again, man, a beautiful day, just sticking to what I know, and sticking to the patterns I'm familiar with. Didn't really have no dip buy opportunities. I thought about dip buying AABB in the morning, but it didn't dip far enough for me to think it would. Again, thought about dip buying LTNC, but that one didn't really dip the way I wanted to. It did, but it popped too soon on me, and then I just didn't have the chance. I didn't like the entry point at that point, so I just said, no, I'm not going to do it. Closed my lab after I made my initial, I believe I woke up with a $1,700 profit. Yeah, AABB made $1,700 in the morning. and then gave back 140 on the EENF trade, and then closed my lab, and then walked away, then came back, seen the multi-day breakout on INND, collected, you know, another 480 on that, and then bought up AABB at the close and INNDD at the close, or INND at the close, and was able to add some solid profit. So overall, winded up with a little over $2,700 on the day. So a beautiful day. That's going to be it for today, guys. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of my analysis. Again, if you made it this far, please click that like button. Please subscribe. You can't stop Mafia. It's a mindset movement, meaning never stop yourself, never stop your progress, never stop your education, especially in finance. Having multiple streams of income is an amazing thing, and the stock market is a place where you can do that. So AABB, a beautiful overnight play for a nice $1,700 profit, then repurchased it at the end of day today for another overnight play, which winded up adding another, what was it, put me up to 2,400. So what, another another $700 profit. Yep, 17 plus 700. Yeah, 17 plus 8. Yep. So made another 700 at the close, and then INND, a beautiful multi-day breakout, was able to make over 450 on, and then took a small little loss on EENF. Try to buy a little bounce, and it just didn't work, and took a 140 loss on that. So that's going to be it for today, guys. I'll be sure to keep you updated as much as possible. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.